During one particular bad attack, there was a Black & Decker drill that was lying actually on the windowsill. And I really seriously thought about picking it up and drilling through my temple.
It's like someone drilling through the top of my head. And at the same time they're trying to shove a knitting needle through my ear and another one and a nail through the back of my head.
You've probably never heard of it, but it's one of the most painful headaches you can get. Often confused with migraine, it's 10 times more painful.
The only way I can ever describe it is when you have ice cream when you're a child and it hits the nerve above the eye. It's called ice pick headache. It's like that, but it lasts up to 3 hours, 100 times worse, and you literally are suicidal.
Cluster headache is often referred to as suicide headache, and there's a publication in one of the headache journals that actually shows a X-ray of a cluster headache patient who'd literally stuck a shotgun in his eye and pulled the trigger and shot throughout his brain. Extraordinarily, he actually managed to survive.
The closest I ever came to suicide was one morning at 4:30. I was going to kill myself and I thought, I've got a rope in the garage. I'll get the rope out of the garage and I'll throw it around the oak tree that was in the back garden. And I went into the garage to get the rope, and my son had used it to tie all his toys up, so I couldn't even use the rope, and I wasn't capable of actually undoing doing the rope. You're capable of absolutely nothing at all except screaming.
A thought expressed by every cluster headache sufferer at one time or another. All say that suicide can sometimes appear the only way to escape the pain.
We can't get the oxygen. What are we supposed to do?
The first time I had it, I actually thought I was having a brain hemorrhage. And I got some sort of brain tumour or something like that, and this was it, this was the end. Then it goes away, and then it comes back again and it goes away, and you think, well, something's wrong here. But the actual attack, which it is an attack, it generally almost always focuses on one side of the head and the face. It can stretch down to the jaw, even to the shoulder sometimes. It's absolutely excruciating. At the onset of cluster headache, I was episodic, where I'd go on average for about 6 weeks without anything in pain-free remission. And then I'd have a 4-week bout, and then 6 weeks off, 4 weeks on. Eventually I turned chronic where I didn't get any breaks. The bouts just extended and became one bout. But more recently, I went back to episodic again. But you never know how it might just jump out at you, and off you go again on the merry trip.
My personal worst was the 15th of June 2005, where I actually had 15 attacks, varying between 15 minutes and 3 hours. And I was absolutely exhausted.
Chronic sufferer Mike Pollock has lived with it since he was 6 and has had daily attacks for nearly 20 years. There's no cure and nobody knows what causes it. He needs daily injections and oxygen, but says it's difficult to get the right treatment.
Trying to get control is very important, so we do have drugs like verapamil, for example, that we can use to try to reduce the frequency of and the severity of the attacks as they actually occur. But people are experiencing needing to take quite strong medicines to get the condition under control. I'm absolutely astounded by the way that people experiencing these severe headaches will just try and fight on through and battle on through, and it really upsets me when people outside who don't understand what the headaches are like are just thinking that people are taking day off because they've got the day off just because they've got another headache.
I don't think anyone would be able to understand what we have to endure. It would just be impossible. So I tend to keep quiet about it.
And at the moment, there's little or no hope for us as far as a cure is concerned.